who's already watching, I did forget to hit the record button, so I have to do this again. Let me just check to make sure I'm live on Rumble. Anytime. There we go. Okay, perfect. So, starting early today, and I'm going to repeat what I just said because I'm a damn fool, and one day off is apparently enough to put me out of rust, or into rust. Uh, as I didn't record yesterday and was occupied on Monday, I've got a little bit of a backlog I want to get through. Plus, it's Fandom Friday. Plus, I have a bunch of Six Emperor. Well, I don't have a bunch of Six Emperor Mentalists, but I do have some Six Emperor Mentalists to get through. Uh, and apologies if you hear the cracking of my knuckles. My hands are starting to hurt from the cold because the weather keeps changing, and arthritis is a bastard. Um, yeah, still working on the merch. You'll notice the pinned comment has now been changed to "I swear to God, I'm working on it." It's a slow process, apparently, uh, but we'll get through it. In any case, as it is in fact Friday the 13th, I would like to share a little something with my folks from Telegram, and that would be this. Oh. Since there was actually copyrighted music in that, we're going to leave it as it is and pretend that that didn't happen. I'm going to delete that. Come back to here. That's nice. That split view makes it easier to multitask. Avast, but I don't need that in your browser right now. Thank you. So, the big story of the week, of course, is Tumbler Ridge, and we're going to take a quick dive through that. And I do apologize ahead of time if anyone is of a more gentle constitution than I am. Perhaps you should take some time away and not watch this part. But let's get through this because everyone else and their dog has covered it now, and I wanted to, and I did say on Wednesday that I wanted to give it at least a couple of days to develop. There were some interesting developments even on Wednesday. Police initially attempted to, we'll say they didn't want to reveal the details about the shooter initially. Of course, by that time that they had made that announcement, it was far too late and they couldn't hide it, if that was in fact what they were attempting to do. We do know that the name of the shooter, his particular proclivities, we'll say, and some of the really silly things that happened around that. We'll go through this first. This is the timeline as presented to me by the Brave AI. So, and you can see that it uses CBC, Global, and Wikipedia, amongst other sources, for the collation. So, the 2026 Tumbler Ridge school shooting timeline and key events. February 10th was the day of the shooting. There's quite a lot of backstory, however. On February 10th, 2026, a mass shooting unfolded in the remote community of Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, marking one of the deadliest school attacks in Canadian history. It's one of the deadliest mass shootings, period. Incident began at approximately 2:20 p.m. Mountain Standard Time when the Royal Canadian Mounted Police received a report of an active shooter at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. Secondary school generally is what we call high school here in Newfoundland. So at 2:20, cops responded to the active shooter call. Officers from the detachment arrived within 2 minutes. It's good response time. It's still 2 minutes. 2 minutes later, police entered the school amid active gunfire. They found multiple victims, located the suspect deceased from what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. About 3:15, an alert-ready emergency alert was issued, warning residents of a suspect described as a, quote, female in a dress with brown hair, and instructing them to shelter in place. An hour later. That's pretty bad. An hour after that, RCMP confirmed the original suspect was believed dead, but were assessing whether a second suspect was involved. An hour and a half later, the emergency alert was officially canceled. Police determined there was no ongoing threat. An hour after that, Superintendent Ken Floyd addressed the media, confirming the suspect was dead. 7 people were found deceased inside the school, including 6 victims and the perpetrator. One additional person initially reported dead en route to the hospital later survived. You see here why I am so careful not to jump on a story that is developing as it is developing. Victims and fatalities. The attack resulted in 9 deaths, including the suspect, and 27 others injured. At the school, 6 people killed, 5 students between 12 and 13. Yeah, that would be grade 7. One 39-year-old female educator. At a residence, 2 victims, the suspect's 39-year-old mother, which we'll talk about later, and 11-year-old stepbrother were found dead at a home on Fellers Avenue, having been shot before the school attack. 2 individuals were airlifted with serious injuries, including a 12-year-old girl in critical condition after being shot in the head and neck. The suspect is reported to be 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootselaar, identified by RCMP February 11th, the next day. Van Rootselaar, a former student at the school, was described as a transgender woman who had begun transitioning 6 years prior, at 12 years old. Authorities confirmed she acted alone. Investigation and background. RCMP's Major Crime Unit took over the investigation, recovering 2 firearms, a long gun and a modified handgun. Now, keep both of those in mind for later. It's going to be important. From the school. Van Rootselaar had a history of mental health issues and had previously held a minor's firearm license, which expired in 2024. Police had seized firearms from the family home in 2025, but returned them after the lawful owner petitioned. Van Rootselaar's online presence included videos of firearms use and posts referencing psychedelic drug use, mental health struggles. Authorities stated no motive was determined, and no note or manifesto was found. The community and national response. The close-knit community of 2,399 residents, there's actually more people living in the town I live in, was left in shock. Schools in Tumbler Ridge were closed for the remainder of the week. Trauma counselors were deployed. Mark Carney offered condolences, postponed a defense strategy announcement, and suspended travel plans. David Eby, the Premier BC, expressed grief, calling the event unimaginable, mobilizing mental health support. And a day of mourning was observed across BC. The incident sparked renewed debate over gun control and mental health support in Canada, and yet no one wants to talk about the obvious elephant in the room. Historical context for Tumbler Ridge. It's been a town since 1981. It was built as a planned community to support coal mining. Economic instability, population declines after the mine closed. More recently, it gained recognition for dinosaur fossil discoveries and was designated a UNESCO Global Geopark. And the town's resilience was tested again by this strategy, with Mayor Daryl Krakauka stating, quote, "Our community is strong. We are family. We need to help each other." Okay, so now we'll come to the suspect's mother. Jennifer Strang, 39, and an 11-year-old boy, the stepbrother, were found dead in a family home. Now, I just want to point out that Jennifer Strang was from Lon, and those of you who've been following me for a while know that up until about 2 years, well, a year and a half ago, give or take, I was living in Lon. I actually know several members of her family. I'm fairly certain I went to university with one of her cousins in the 90s. Newfoundland is surprisingly close-knit, even now. So Jennifer was killed in a mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge on Tuesday. Tragedy struck. Speaking from Surrey, about 670 kilometers southwest of Tumbler Ridge on Wednesday, RCMP Deputy Commissioner Dwayne McDonald confirmed the identity of the suspect, who was found dead inside the local high school, as 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootselaar. McDonald said 2 people were killed at a home on Fellers Avenue. CBC News has identified one of them as Rootselaar's mother, Jennifer Strang, 39, from Lon. The other was his 11-year-old stepbrother. 6 more people were murdered at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, and many more injured. And, yeah, the term should not be killed. It should be murdered. Kalergi is in. Hello, Kalergi. Mental health support. Might be time to discuss less of it, seeing as the majority of what they're offering white kids is hormones and euthanasia. And mutilation. Let's not forget the mutilation. That's 7 degrees of separation for you. Actually, it's closer to 2. Yeah. And yeah, it's close enough that it bothers me. Also killed, we talked about that. 2 more victims. Dwayne said police are continuing to notify loved ones. Rootselaar dropped out of school 4 years ago, at 14 years old, and was not a student at the time of the shooting. So at 12, he begins to transition. At 14, he drops out of school. At 18, he goes back and shoots it up. It's questionable. About 2,400 people in Tumbler Ridge. Tumbler Ridge pastor George Rowe describes the community as, quote, very closely knit. Probably likely true. Newfoundlanders do have a tendency to be very community-minded people in some ways. And I would be very surprised if there weren't more Newfoundlanders up there. Town councillor Chris Norbury, whose wife is a teacher at the school and is safe, told CBC News he knows every one of the victims. It would be very difficult not to in a small town like that. I've seen them grow up, he said. We sang stories together, we read books together, I saw them everywhere. And knowing that I can't see them anymore, that we won't see them anymore, that their family has to live with this incredible loss is almost unbearable. Yeah. Of course, now, this is not... Oh, I see. This is Andy. No. This was a search I did on X, so this wasn't exactly what I was looking for. Here, this was actually the post I was going to reference here. From Van Shitty TV. Jesse Strang is the Tumbler Ridge shooter. It appears his mother groomed him. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I suspect, and I'll blow this up for the sake of argument here, I suspect, in retrospect, that this may have been a case of, and I hope this was a case of the mother simply encouraging and embracing the child's choice. It's very hard to say that, though, at 12 years old, so, I mean, massive grains of salt. She did say in a post, I believe this is Facebook, check out my oldest son Jesse Strang's YouTube channel. He posts about hunting, self-reliance, guns, and stuff he likes to do. Subscribe and you'll get notifications when he posts new videos. He doesn't go on much other social media, so this is his way of sharing his life. Now, I will point out that if he was using psychedelic drugs, I suspect his posts were not being seen by his mother. Excuse me. Also, she called herself Jess Uwu, so anime fan, I guess. The Tumbler Ridge trans shooter has been identified as Jesse Strang. Of course, we see him here. This is probably early in the transition. This, I would suggest, is pre-transition. This is, again, in transition, and transition as well. Yeah, the real tragedy... Good people don't spend their time harassing marginalized communities. Now, this is the mother posting this. As a conservative-leaning libertarian who lives in the North and loves living in a small town, I really hope the hate I see online is just bored old people and not true hatred. Do better and educate yourself before spewing bullshit online. Now, I'm not going to keep reading that because, well, this woman has passed away, so we don't need to keep harping on that. But I'm going to come over here. Oh, this is the timeline again? Oh, I see. Okay, wait now. I had a follow-up question down here, if I recall correctly. Okay. This was the question I wanted to ask. But before this comes up, or as this is coming up, I do want to point out that there are no red flag laws in Canada. Not really. I mean, the police have the right to confiscate weapons from you if they suspect you may be a danger. Hence, why these weapons were confiscated from them. However, there's a few issues here with the police response. Yes, you have the right to petition to have them returned if you are not shown to have done something wrong with them after a certain amount of time, etc. That's fine, and that's the way it should be, at the very least. But one of the other problems here is that no one has the ability to legally possess a handgun in Canada anymore. That's gone. It's been gone for several years. So how he was in possession of a modified handgun is a very big question. One possible explanation is that he either traded one of his long guns for a modified handgun, or simply purchased at black market, or potentially even built it. It's very difficult to say, but here are the key verified facts. His firearms license, which was a minor's license, expired in 2024. No firearms are registered in their name at the time of the shooting. Okay, so he had 2 unregistered firearms on him. The seized firearms were registered to someone else in the household, not to Van Rootselaar. That's a new wrinkle, actually, that I didn't find yesterday. RCMP confirmed the guns were returned to the lawful owner following a legal petition process. Well, yeah, if they take someone else's guns because that person is in your home and they suspect they may be a danger, you absolutely should have the right to have them returned. It remains unconfirmed whether the weapons used in the attack, a long gun and a modified handgun, were the same ones previously seized and returned. I think we can be very certain that the handgun was not, because I don't believe the RCMP would have handed it back over. The decision to return the firearms is under scrutiny. Shouldn't be. If it wasn't his guns, it's not an issue. So now that we have that piece of information, of course, I have to change my theory. I suspect either they were stolen or simply purchased black market. We don't need to know who owned those firearms. So one of the big things that's not being discussed here that I think should be is that at no point has anyone pointed out that this person was in transition, and that may have affected their thinking. Not only that, he's using psychedelic drugs, probably drinking. There's a pattern there for someone to see if you're looking. I get that life can get in the way. Taking care of your family can get in the way of actually looking at your family. I understand these things. But that said, this is someone who had multiple run-ins with the police on a mental health basis. It would not be fair to say that there should have been no guns in the house, but it is fair to say there should have been no way for this person to access them. And I don't mean just taking a key, locking them in a safe, and putting the key on a shelf. I'm talking about making sure that you can't even get into that safe with a crowbar. The simple fact of the matter is here that the trans ideology thing is an absolute horror show. If you look at detransition stories, they're heartbreaking. If you look at why kids are transitioning, or even claiming to be trans in the first place, there's a combination of social pressure and privilege seeking. I've been at events myself and heard many anecdotal stories from folks who are absolutely flabbergasted by this phenomenon, that if someone shows up who claims to be trans, or any number of other parts of the LGBTQ spectrum, these people are immediately given some form of praise, is the best word I can think of. They're considered to be somehow better than regular parents, things of that nature. And I'm kind of earthy with my attitude towards this. I don't understand how you can look at a boy who says he's a girl and not disagree when a year earlier, or even 10 minutes earlier, they might have looked up and said they were a fire truck. I don't understand that. Yes, I am couching it slightly in humor. But I'm trying to illustrate my point that we take care. Children are considered not the property, but the purview of their parents until they reach the age of majority, because they do not always have a truly strong grip on reality. And there's another story that's going to factor into that later. But before I keep going, of course, let's get into the Sic Semper Mentalis, shall we? The Thus Always to Dickheads section. Yeah. We will start with... no, I'll end with that one. Actually, I'll work my way down the list this time instead of bouncing around. So, from Japan, this one is The account is called Cutest Japan Posts, and might be worth a follow. I did throw them a follow based just on this. Breaking. Japanese are hunting illegal immigrants in real-life Pokemon Go for a 50,000 bounty program. So from Akito Bill. I think it should be more widely known that if you report someone to immigration and they turn out to be an illegal resident, you have a chance to get 50,000 yen. And even if you're mistaken, there's no penalty. Is it for real? Somebody, I guess, asked Grok, is it for real that you get 50,000 yen if you report illegal immigrants and they get deported? Natsuki Aoi responds, if you report illegal immigrants, you can get up to 50,000 yen, finding one every 3 days for an annual income of 5 million. Come on, everyone, let's hunt for illegal residents. Modern problems, modern solutions. I'm going to skip this one because it's a little insensitive today. This one I am absolutely not going to skip. I absolutely adore what happened here. Not because of the word that was used, but because of the tactical application here. For those of you who don't know, this woman was being clearly harassed on public transit in the U.S. And, yeah, the caption says it all. Shadi loaded up that hara. She did indeed. Let me make sure the desktop audio is on so you can understand what she's dealing with. Also, I will point out that the subway, or the train, tram, subway, metro, whatever term you want to use, it's not far from a stop, which means this has probably been going on for some time.
Bro, next time somebody hit your nigga, you're supposed to beat their ass. Bye, bitch! Bye, bitch!
Oh, they cocked. Go to the next call.
Bye, bitch!
Smooth as silk. Just leaned in, dropped the bomb, walked away. Very good timing. As I said, a strategic bomb drop. And the reaction here is actually what I want you guys to see. Now, this is someone that the doors are closed. They can't be reopened. And this person is essentially unreachable to these people. In a situation, well, sorry, in the case of myself, had that happened, I'd just write it off. I'd just be like, okay, so they dropped an insult and fucked off like a coward. Fine. Big deal. And that's if it had been a man, of course. In the case of a woman, it would have been whatever. This is an insanely telling reaction. They were waiting for the excuse to get violent. Beating on the door. That's a safety device to keep you from dying. You people are trying to break them open. Or flips them off, whichever.
That nigger.
Why were you right there helping to get at that door if you didn't know what she had said? Yeah. Absolutely deserved dickhead behavior. That, Earl, is an absolutely fair meme response to it. And I will throw you a like for that. She was just trying to have a chat about astronomy. Yep, they are in fact calling her the Subway Queen. Now she will be further harassed and then likely fired from her job. Maybe. I will point out, several people have pointed out that if she loses her job, all she has to do is start a GoFundMe, and she'll probably be richer than she could ever expect to be. Has there been a serious study done on impulse control or just not being violent? And that's American as Trump. Franklin has black fatigue. Black women more likely to commit murder than white men. Somebody threw Hulk Hogan in there. Yeah, did you see how they verbally attacked her, but when she said one word, these weak people just snapped. They can't handle it. No. They were waiting. They were encouraging her to actually say it so that they had the excuse to be violent. That's essentially a very low-cunning form of entrapment. Acts like one, gets called one. Yeah, As we see, the Subway Queen. Okay. More Sic Semper Mentalis. I do have a few today, actually. This one. Okay, we'll pause this here, and I'll just read the... from Imtiaz Mahmoud. 2 men get caught harassing a vulnerable, drunk girl outside of the bars of Manchester city centre. The girl is saved by a TikToker, amazingly, who calls them out and forces them to leave her alone. This is part of a phenomenon called cleanup crews. That Subway clip is better than any movie released in the past 15 years. It's definitely better comedy than anything that wasn't written by Mel Brooks. So we'll just watch a brief bit of this. This is actually heroic. That's 2 girls, by the way.
You okay? You okay?
Look at the
You
grip
okay?
the other guy has on the
No?
controls.
You're not okay? Do you know these?
Yeah.
These?
Yeah.
You know them, yeah?
Yeah. We are.
No, you don't know them. Yeah, you're not with these though, are you?
Yeah.
You're not with these though, are you?
Sorry?
No, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're not with them, are you? You're in jogging bottoms, you don't get no colour jogging bottoms. You were literally, I saw you pushing her. She
No,
looks
not at all,
scared for
man.
her life.
No, not at all, man.
Okay,
What are you talking about?
okay.
Yes.
What are you doing all tonight? She looks scared for her life, then.
Okay, man.
I know you're just walking away.
Nudge the camera, and now
I
you
thought
wanna
these
leave.
like your love of your life, just said. What are you running for? Oi! Stop harassing girls, you weirdos!
Good man. Yeah. Let's see. What accent is that? Neither UK natives. Well, this fella looks Indian. I'm not 100% sure about this fella. But they could both be Pakistani, so... Coming soon, police complain about the sharp rise in violent vigilantism. Call it racist. Yeah. You have one of 2 options. There's the gentler option of getting these people away from your people. Or, well, getting them away from your people. Yeah. They should be charged with what? Harassment? Attempted kidnapping? Do you think the girls are going to testify to that? And if they did, do you think the judge would actually do anything approaching proper punishment? No. Excuse me. Now you know why they criminalized owning mace. This is all on purpose. Well, probably not. Honestly. The major reason you outlaw something that can be used as a weapon against other people is to prevent it being used as a weapon against other people. I'll grant you that. In the case of mace, it's probably more akin to the reason they outlawed switchblades, at least here in Canada. Because with a switchblade, you could injure yourself. Butterfly knives here in Canada. With a butterfly knife, you could potentially injure yourself. Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? Stay strong. Yeah, it's starting to look that way. Sorry, this just makes me want to Fed post. I'll leave it at that. Brother, you have no idea how easily I could Fed post about this. There's a reason I suggest deportation by one-way trebuchet. We'll leave that at that. Speaking of deportations and the proper response to illegal migrants, I'm happy to report, through Gunther Eagleman, it's official. Minnesota police just unleashed, I thought I was following Gunther, just unleashed on the leftists outside the federal building where ICE agents are working. Full sprint charges, shields up, batons ready, they're laying the hammer down. Now, this may also be part of the reason that we're starting to see a massive rise in women bringing babies and toddlers to these protests. You don't get to use human shields to protect scumbags. If you or your child gets injured, and I did cover a story where a pregnant woman had supposedly been shot in the stomach with a rubber bullet recently. If you are at a protest and you are at a place, you are in a position to be shot at with a rubber bullet, you have ceased to be a protester and become a criminal. You should weigh your decisions very carefully. And if you don't care about the safety of your child, then you probably don't deserve to be a parent, and, well, it might be right to take it away from you. Harsh. Yeah, this is... Oh, I let that play without...
You are under arrest. Be seated where you are and follow the directions of officers. You are under arrest. Be seated where you are and follow the directions of officers.
These are not, for the record, these are not the shields the police were carrying. So, why does a protester carry a shield if they're not conscious of the fact that something untoward might occur, potentially from their own side? I will point out, at least this time, they're not mysteriously acquiring pallets of bricks. Oh, this guy actually sat down, though I think it wasn't actually happening. Stop rolling, moron. Just shoot that one. Clearly, that one's clearly broken. Good shot.
I didn't do anything. We need one here, too. Come on.
My name is Kiki Athena. Athena Sierra. And all I'm doing is rolling on the ground. All I'm doing is rolling on the ground.
Tell him he can't breathe.
Roll on your stomach. After on your back.
Do you feel good about yourself? Do you feel good about yourself?
You are under arrest. Be seated where you are and follow the directions of officers.
Somebody broke a baton. Oof.
You are under arrest.
Damn.
Be seated where you are and follow the directions of officers.
Also, I will point out they probably need to change whatever wood they're using in their batons. Because having done a fair bit of... that's a 6-minute clip, I didn't realize that. But having done a bit of wood-on-wood sword fighting, things of that nature, there are certain woods that splinter in a very dangerous way, and there are ones that are significantly safer to handle. In the case of something like that, it's not outside the realm of possibility with that particular type of break, which I suspect is probably oak, maybe, with that particular type of break, that someone could grab the broken end and attempt to injure someone else. There's also the possibility that when the break happens, that piece goes spinning off and injures someone who had absolutely nothing to do with the situation. That then would play hob with both optics and potential lawsuits. Protesters should step their game up and start blocking railroad crossings. Andy, I'm guessing you didn't hear about what happened in Canada a few years back. Peter Lombard, in such a large metro area, so few protesters. I suspect the video started about the point where they had already been fleeing in some significant numbers. Now that's what I voted for, volume 47. Bring out the big equipment for Kubo to... Yeah. Well done. It's so beautiful. Yep. How hard I pronounce the F, and fuck yes, I voted for this. Mr. Truck Driver, who is not one of my follows, those jumping in, acting like credible press, you're in a battle zone, so don't whine if you get wounded. Video rodents, not press. MTD. I'm not sure what MTD stands for. I will point out, if you're filming and you get injured, yeah, you don't have the protection of the free press, because that thing is completely non-existent anyway. If you put yourself in a situation, and this is one of the things with journalists from years ago, you had to have your head on a swivel. Your situational awareness had to be on point. If you are about to be clobbered by something, you need to move. You need to be aware that it's coming. Sorry, just rearranging a few things on my desk here. Let's see. Anti-ice rioters should be given the exact same treatment as G6 Pro. No, that's not kind. I'm not saying it's not appropriate. I'm just saying it's not kind. No, I'll end on that one after, actually. Is this the next one? Yes. Okay, from the voice of God himself, the Metatron, we have an idiot being an idiot. And I mean idiot. Pause the video here, and Metatron, pure Metatron on X. You should throw him a follow. If you're following him on YouTube, you should also, or if you're on YouTube, you should consider subscribing to him. It's good content. He's a nice guy. Cringe. Why did she buy a sharp katana? If she wanted a toy, she should have got a blunt one. Also, isn't it forbidden anyways to show live blades on stream? When you're a girl, you can get away with an awful lot on Twitch. Last but not least, seeing a katana handled like that for a sword enthusiast is the equivalent of looking down the barrel of a loaded firearm for the gun enthusiasts out there. It doesn't even have to be loaded. It could be absolutely empty, chamber could be open, you look down that barrel, I'm still going to go, what are you doing? I hope she didn't lose her fingers. I suspect she didn't lose fingers, but, and I will warn you guys, this is not graphic, there's no visual blood or anything. But if you know anything about sharp blades, especially katanas, especially moving in the way that one is, yeah. So what I'm going to point out, she purchased a sharp katana. She didn't know what she was dealing with. Clearly never handled one. If you watch how she handles it in the video before she has the accident, it's pretty predictable what was going to happen. As for whether it's forbidden to show live blades on stream on Twitch, I don't know. But it probably is against terms of service. But this is 3 minutes and 55 seconds. We're not going to watch the whole thing. We're going to watch the important parts. So, as you can see, her hand is bandaged. So she got herself a katana. I'll also point out, I don't know what all this gear is that's attached to it. I suspect it's some sort of display piece. Now, this is probably, looking at it, probably a modern-made katana. So, custom. Probably around, we'll say $500 as a rough guess, and that's Canadian, so. Because that's about the budget good version. Like, if you wanted to purchase a katana for cutting videos, for example, which I used to watch Skullagrim do a lot. Shadiversity also does them. If you wanted to purchase a katana for doing that, you're looking at a minimum $500, I would think, for something that is both authentically made, in terms of its structure, its construction, not necessarily the steel. The whole folded 10 million times thing is a bit of a myth. You can actually get far better blades with modern techniques, and definitely with modern materials. I just want to point out a few things about this person's house first before we go any further. Clearly not particularly concerned about dressing their set properly. That appears to be a lemon tree. Why that's in your house is beyond me. It's potentially plastic. This appears to be either a candle or a drinking vessel that's been fallen over and left. So this person is not particularly... what's the nicest way to say it? Concerned with their environment, or particularly mindful, we'll say.
Katana.
Okay, so what she's holding here, this black piece, this appears to be the display stand. So first off, she picked it up from wherever she was displaying it, whole and entire. She has no idea how to hold it. She just let go of the actual sword itself to grab, I forget what it's called, saya, I think? The scabbard, basically, the sheath.
Oh my god.
Gravity is a thing, you dozy bint. Yeah, right there. She's probably going to scream when I hit pause again. So be prepared for that. And if you're wearing headphones, maybe turn them down a touch. Yeah. Here goes. Oh, good. We didn't actually get to hear her yelp. But as you can see, what happened was, and I will grab... This is one of my bokken. What happened was, the sword was in this position coming out of the sheath. So this is about... I'll turn it this way so you can see. I have some custom paintwork I'm going to do on this, which is why it's bare. But about here is where the sheath would connect to the actual sword itself. They're not always very tight for obvious reasons. It makes it easier to draw them. But what happened was, when she took hold to the the saya, this scabbard up here, this had nothing holding it. So it did this. So when she grabs it, it's already moving at about that speed. So that would have come down completely across her fingers, probably went about that far, and even with a butter knife at that speed, you're going to get at least a little bit of a scratch. So she is extremely lucky, and Metatron was right to point it out, she is extremely lucky to still have all her fingers. But what's even more important here is she is extremely lucky if she still has the use of her fingers. Because, yes, while you have tendons back here, there are still important pieces here as well. And, yeah. This was just absolute cringe, and it's in Sic Semper Mentalis because, well, act like a dickhead, you get a dickhead's reward. Let's have a look through here. Here we are, Ardent Party. I don't know who this person is. We have a very earthy expression for people like that here in Newfoundland. I will paraphrase it. Now, I paraphrased it for the sake of Metatron, because I respect him, and I don't necessarily want to call her a stunned cunt in his chat. Yeah, disoriented vagina. Stunned cunt. Yeah, or dozy bint. It's a common reaction to grab for something you drop. Yes. Unless you are smart enough to realize, wait, that's a bare blade. See, if you're someone who's worked with bare blades, live blades especially, and you drop it, you know fucking well to get the fuck away from it. This should be filed under shit happens. It's not newsworthy in my humble opinion. Metatron disagrees. It is. You should know better. Yeah, you have the responsibility when you own something dangerous to know how to prevent it from being dangerous, especially to yourself. I do love this meme. Let me blow this up. Okay. Oh, it doesn't want to blow up. Let me open it in a new tab then. Okay, you can't give her that. It's not safe. It's a sword. They're not meant to be safe. She's a child. It's educational. What if she cuts herself? That will be an important lesson. Yeah, that is a classic meme. Close that. Reset this. Put that back where it was. Okay. So the last thing for our Sic Semper Mentalis, actually, before I come to that, I want to have a... This is a sign the spirit of the sword is not pleased with its new home. Yeah, I don't think that was an antique. My Shifu used to tell me the blade of consequences rarely strikes you with the blunt edge. Literally could have simply searched tutorial videos on how to draw a sword and avoid them. That she wasn't trying to draw it. She was trying to take the... I'm almost 100% certain she was trying to slide the display stand off of it and didn't think what she was doing. Some people don't understand that they're not toys to be played with. She had no idea what she had. I see katanas mostly as a piece of art, not toys. Antiques, yeah, I'll grant you. Definitely artwork. But it's artwork with a function. Oh my god, I don't even treat it like that with my wooden katana. Yeah. The whole point of a wooden katana is training. And that's, yeah. It's part of the reason that you have it. You learn to essentially have correct form when you swing, to hold it properly, to manipulate it properly. You see, Trixer says, laughing my ass off, I was cleaning my sword once and I cut a nice nook out of my index finger as I wasn't being careful. There's the operative phrase, wasn't being careful. The difference between a sword and a gun is that one can only easily hurt you. What? I didn't need to go to the hospital, but damn, it bled like a motherfucker, and I learned my lesson. The difference between a sword and a gun is that one can only easily hurt you. No. That's not the difference between a sword and a gun. That's the similarity between a sword and a gun. If you don't handle it properly, you can get severely injured. Some skills there. May want a blunt trainer wanting to play with it. Yeah. No way in hell a medical professional wrapped that. Not possible. Okay, well, let's criticize that then. Let's see if she shows the hand at all. We can get a good look at it. That does look like a tensor bandage wrapped around it. Yeah, that doesn't look professionally wrapped at all, and there's absolutely no reason for a sling. So yeah, I'm kind of wanting now to question whether or not it might have actually been a blunt, and this was all for show. But if that was the case, that's even stupider, because then all you've done is make yourself look like an absolute fucking retard, and tried to play it up for sympathy. Yeah. Think about guns, guys. You've got to be careful with them. Another disenfranchised Datador the dinosaur. What? Oh, this guy. Well, they won't ban her because she likes to shake her butt. I used to watch her movie reactions, then I understand she became a bit of a thirst trap streamer. It's inevitable. If you are a good-looking woman, even mildly good-looking, the thirst trap pipeline is real. You have to fight against it very hard. How in the world can it be forbidden? If indeed that's on the menu, ma'am, that's a huge part of what led to her being done this way. Well, let's find out about that claim, actually. Is it against Twitch TOS to handle a live blade on stream? Displaying and safely handling a live blade, such as a knife, on Twitch is generally allowed, as long as it is done responsibly and without threatening behavior. So I guess if you were brandishing it at... Oh, yeah, here we go. Prohibited. Brandishing, pointing, waving, or threatening anyone, including viewers, streamers, or oneself with a knife, is strictly against Twitch's community guidelines and can lead to penalties, including suspensions or bans. Fair. Now, that makes me wonder, is fencing, like if you were doing recreational sword fighting in proper gear, would that be against Twitch's terms of service, I wonder? And apparently this would be against Twitch's terms of service. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to threaten my viewers with a knife from fucked off in goddamn Newfoundland, way the hell away from them. Some of these terms of service terms are just retarded. Twitch does not explicitly mention knives in its guidelines, but enforces a zero-tolerance policy for using weapons to threaten, intimidate, harm, or kill others. Okay, well, if you think someone is seriously attempting to intimidate the camera... let's see. Dark says, first time watching this, yes, she absolutely should have never had a sword, especially a real one. Hell, I didn't do this with stick swords when I was a kid. She shouldn't have weapons. She doesn't know how to properly hold them. This is the thing about boys. When you hand them a stick and they think sword, they immediately go into the mode of, okay, well, and this is the handle and I can't touch this part because this is blade. If you tell them, if they get the impression this is a gun, then one end becomes the stock, one end becomes the barrel, and they never go near the barrel. Funny thing, that, isn't it? It's almost like it's innate. It's not, but yeah. It's one of those things people need to be taught. Her focus is on performing for the camera. That's the main issue. Her brain's not firing on all pistons. Yeah, and I just had the same problem when I was trying to demonstrate how she got cut, assuming she got cut, with the boken. I'm paying greater attention to what I'm doing with the weapon than I am the camera, so I don't know what the angle was really like. I'm fairly sure it was okay. What else we got here? Been there, done that. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I've dropped enough. What's this? I've dropped enough knives in my life to have a reflex to move away from a falling object. Neither my fingers nor toes will be close to it. Why are you dropping knives? What are you doing with a knife that causes you to drop it? Are you trying to juggle them? Are you flipping them over in your hand? Yeah. Risk behaviors is a guy thing too. Okay, so the last of our 6 Emperor Mentalis things today is an absolute wholesome thing that I can't wait to show you guys because it is just so cute. Okay, let's pause this. From Libs of TikTok, a Florida sheriff's office has purchased an ice cream truck and hands out free ice cream using money seized from drug dealers for community outreach initiative. I'm okay with that. That's about a minute long.
This is our brand new Orange County Sheriff's Office ice cream truck. We're going to take this truck around and we're going to visit some of our neighborhoods and give out ice cream to kids.
Here you go.
And that's all in an effort to better engage with our youth and to build trust between our youth and the sheriff's office.
Now I'm going to try and find a shot of the door because it does have something to say about why the truck was purchased.
This is a really good one. Good choice. Enjoy.
The best part...
Here we are. This ice cream truck was purchased with money seized from drug dealers, and they put their fucking emojis on there. God bless them.
About this is this was purchased with seized drug money. So all those drug dealers we arrest, when they have cash on them, we seize it through our forfeiture laws, and then we're able to use that and put it right back into our community, taking their drug money and using it for good. We're going to take this into our neighborhoods at different times in the month, and then we're also going to take it to all our different community engagement events, like our barbecues and picnics that we have, and we'll partner with many nonprofits throughout Orange County and take it to their events as well.
Here you go, sweetie.
And if you follow us on social media, we will be posting about what neighborhood the truck's going to be at. So get your free ice cream. That's the important part. We're giving away free ice cream. We are not charging anyone for the ice cream.
That really makes me wonder how much fucking money are they pulling in Florida? But in Orange County, certainly. Yeah. Go free, no white guilt. Sure. Okay, so this is kind of white negative here. Shannon Oliver says, happy to see children get free ice cream. Sad to see so few white. Help our children go free. Okay, that's a little bit white negative. Who cares as long as some of the children are, you know, yeah, it's kind of irrelevant to that post. Florida is so much better. In Philly, we have ice cream trucks that sell drugs. Yeah. Very refreshing to see. Yep, that's a great idea. Also nice for the cops to get to do something enjoyable for a change rather than waiting through the filth and misery so we don't have to. Yeah, that's another thing too. That truck, being assigned to that truck is probably something a lot of the cops want to be able to be doing. Beautiful story, win-win. Cartels cry, kids smile, sheriff wins. Clever move. Sayonara. If you've never seen the movie The Last Dragon, I do encourage you to go see it. It's hilarious. That's such a cool way to repurpose those funds. Ice cream for everyone. Yeah, and I mean, I'm fairly certain that all the police departments probably have all the funding they need for weapons and things of that nature. So good for Sheriff John Mina. Turning drug money into something wholesome for kids is poetic justice, sends a clear message. Crime doesn't pay, but the community reaps the benefits when we enforce the law. Kudos to OCSO. So that's Orange County Sheriff's Office for creative outreach. Yeah, it's a good move. Korea Brief says, turning drug money into free ice cream for kids is the ultimate win for the community. This is how you build real trust between law enforcement and the youth. Great job, Orange County Sheriff's Office. Yep. If they put the drug money into the ice cream truck, then where did they put the drugs? Oh, come on, dude. What a lovely gesture. Turning seized drug money into free ice cream for kids is a heartwarming, positive way to build trust and show the community real care. Isn't this emotional blackmail of some sort? What the fuck is wrong with you? Snoop's got it. Genius shit. Yep. Okay, so we're going to transition over to Fandom Friday here. How long have I been going? About an hour. Okay. We'll start from the bottom because that's usually the oldest stuff. Okay. So, first, O'Brien must suffer. It is a rule, and it's one of the few times you will hear me quote Razor Fist. Not a big fan of his political takes, but I do love his DS9 content, so yeah. So Meme Bastard asks, and I should throw him a follow, when did Star Trek die for you? Somewhere around the end of Enterprise, I think. When they rebooted the original instead of continuing the 24th century story. Enjoyed DS9 because the continuity and reoccurring STNG characters lasted about halfway through Voyager before kind of losing interest. Yeah, Voyager kind of pushed me away a fair bit. 2005, but I didn't realize until 2017. Nemesis is my favorite movie. You have no idea how much it pains me to hear you say that. Yeah. After Voyager got home, Enterprise was unnecessary, Nemesis was stupid, 2009 was just Star Wars, and bad, New Trek is dreadful. Can't disagree. Well, I can disagree with the Enterprise being unnecessary. No, I actually can't agree with that. There was no real need to go back and explore that. The thing that irks me since Enterprise is that they've never done Marines since. There's no Makos in the modern era, or in anything going forward. I tried to get rid of all the Star Trek memes online, but I found it was too big an enterprise. Yeah. Let's see. Just give me all the lens flares. Wait, I worry what you just heard was give me a lot of lens flares. What I said was give me all the lens flares you have. What's this one? Oh, this is a new AI meme, I think. Lord of the Rings characters as popular memes. Yeah, okay. This is about a minute. I think we already all know what this one is. Oh, that's pretty good, actually. That's from Lord of the Rings Worldwide, so I'll throw them a follow. Let's see what we have here. From Maximus Decimus Wolfenstein II, a.k.a. It doesn't actually say. All the writers went home except him. Why Henry Cavill is still correcting 300 lines of lore at 4 a.m. for the Amazon series. While the writers clocked out, Cavill stayed behind at 4 a.m., red pen in hand, guarding Warhammer 40k like sacred text, correcting lore, armor colors, even pronunciations. He's not just starring in Amazon's series, he's defending grimdark purity from dilution. This isn't method acting, it's a siege. Yeah, all the writers went home except him. So, kudos to Henry Cavill. I'm not a massive Warhammer 40k fan. I'm barely aware of any of the lore. I know I like the orcs, and was an absolute massive fan of the Astartes series when it was done. But it's not really my fandom, but it's really, really nice to see that, like it or not, production companies are being forced to realize you need the nerds. If you want to create a good product, you need the nerds. Now, I'm absolutely hopeful that Henry doesn't get overruled on any of his changes for the sake of modern audiences. And, yeah. I'm actually hopeful he had the good sense to sign some sort of creative control clause into his contract. I don't care. All the more reason to watch when it comes out. Yeah, I'm legitimately optimistic for this one. It's not even just the cautiously hopeful. I'm legitimately optimistic. Let's see, what else do we have? I'm going to save that one for last because it's just plain funny. We got one from Count Dankula, which is actually related. I've got quite a bit of Warhammer 40k stuff, actually. The Horus Hennessy. Yeah. That's it. Just the image. This one is some cosplay, which probably shouldn't be done. Oh, that one doesn't even need to be there. Yeah, there's some cosplay. Oh, it doesn't exist. Let's try that again. There we are. So this is just cosplay. Obviously, somewhat lore breaking, given that there are no but pretty girl in sci-fi outfit. No girls allowed. Yeah, fair. I think the Sisters of Mercy or something like that is what they're called, or Sisters of Battle. What does this say when it's translated? Games Workshop having these women in their lore, and they go for the travesty custodians. I shit on them. Sure. Awesome cosplay. Yes, it is actually really good cosplay. Let's see. The Emperor wants you. Finally, a worthy opponent. The war's upon you. Wog. I need one of them chainswords. Yeah, that's, I mean, cosplay, craft. The level of craft in it was pretty impressive. Excuse me. Somebody asking, how do you make your outfits? I'm really impressed. I don't think you're actually talking to the person who created the outfit. I'd be very shocked if she's actually, well, on Twitter for one, but Sisters of Battle cosplay. There we go. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Look how they massacred my boy. Yeah. The Emperor protects Angel. Yeah. You're going to get simps in every fandom. It is what it is. Now, from Warhammer 40k, we're going to transition over to the new He-Man thing. The one sour note I've seen so far is this one. Director Travis Knight says his Skeletor is the, quote, embodiment of toxic masculinity. Yeah. Further quote, Jared approached us because he loves Skeletor. He wanted to swing for the fences, and ultimately we landed on something that I'm really happy with. Skeletor's kind of the embodiment of toxic masculinity. Yeah, that's from Geeks and Gamers, by the way. Yep, that was one of my reactions. Dang, they were so close to releasing the movie with all sides on board and no major PR disaster. Well, good luck now. Any hint of wokeness and I'm out. Yeah, the moment I saw Jared Leto, it was like, okay, if he's given a decent script and a director can ride herd on him pretty good, he's decent. Then I saw the words toxic masculinity and I went, fuck. Definitely not watching that before it hits free. Yeah. Any director, from Keith GETTR, man, any director or producer that uses the term toxic masculinity in a creative sense will ultimately make a garbage film wrought with feminist lectures. Dead on arrival. Yeah. Stillborn is actually the word you're looking for. I'm already not a He-Man fan, just not my jam. See, I loved He-Man when I was a kid. But it seems Hollywood is doing everything in their power to keep me from engaging. Jared Leto is peak masculinity, yeah. Yeah. That meme speaks for itself. Who decided Jared Leto was a decent actor? Did Dominion count the votes for him too? Oof. Travis Knight just basically called the people who love He-Man and were excited for this film toxic masculinity. He's just done a Ziegler before his film launches. Yeah, good job. Great work, Travis. Adam, Glenn, he, him. Yeah, that was... already a red flag. We are tired of gay retarded shit. Just give us He-Man. Yeah. Let's see. What else have I got in? Oh, gods. Yeah, we've got to deal with this. I've got two things from Robot Head regarding the new Star Wars Mandalorian Grogu movie thing. Pause it here. I'll watch this ad this time, not the second time. This looks like an AI Coca-Cola ad that will come out as a cross-promotion, not the actual film. This film is also dead on arrival. Not dead on arrival, stillborn. We need to actually go back to using that term, because that's what this is. It's stillborn. This is, if I recall correctly, the Super Bowl commercial. So, don't be shocked if on YouTube this video gets blocked because of this.
Sometimes we choose our path. Other times, the path chooses us.
I really hope that's a Sam Elliott impersonator.
Through it all, we keep pushing forward, driven by a deeper purpose, guided by an unseen force. The journey never gets any easier. The bond just gets harder to break. This is the way.
That looks so bad. With all the modern stuff they could have done, they clearly used AI to make this. And it looks so fucking bad. Oh. So, yeah, I talked about what Robothead had to say about that. My response was, what the absolute fuck? Which tends to be a fairly common response from me. Like they're not even trying to make sure the franchise is truly dead. Let the past die. Kill it if you have to. 77 to 83. Well, you know. I like the prequel series. And some of the stuff since Disney took over actually wasn't terrible. Rogue One, for example. Can't wait to tear this movie apart. That's C-3PO. It's not the actual film. It's an announcement spot for the normies riffing on the most iconic Super Bowl ads of all time. Again, yes. Also, it's AI, and very clearly bad AI. So the other thing that Robothead had to say about it was this. And if you don't follow Robothead, he's probably one of the best Australian critical eyes. This has to be bullshit. There is no way that is real. I really hope it's not. If you watch it without audio, it looks like a fucking Coca-Cola Christmas commercial. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a callback to the old commercials. Yeah. I thought it was a Budweiser beer commercial. Same idea. That's what this is. Yeah. It's like the Budweiser commercial with the Clydesdales, only shittier. Yeah. This is the way. Come to Marlboro country. Making me want to smoke now. Honestly, I want a Sopranos-style show from the people that made Penguin based on Huts and their crime world. They live a long time, could have a Kingpin-style Hut and assorted rivals. It's weirdly the only thing I think that might bring me back, to be honest. Well, see, that's the thing. If you want something that isn't Star Wars in the Star Wars universe, then you're not a Star Wars fan, dude. Okay? Star Wars is space opera. It's not gritty gangster drama. Right? When was the last time you saw Tony Soprano pick up a lightsaber and cut a guy in half because he disrespected him? Yeah, Darth Maul runs Crimson Dawn, remember? Let's see. Okay, we've got two more things, and then I'm going to take a short break before I get into the response section. From Rhino. Video games cause violence. Based on the last game you played, what are you getting arrested for? The last game I played was Skyrim, and I played through the Crimson Dirk's side quests when I had finished doing the streaming of it. I would be arrested for, well, vigilantism, because I went town to town wiping out bandit camps. Yeah. And this one kind of made me giggle. So it definitely reached my inner fan. And it says, every male secretly just wants to go on a dangerous adventure. And that's dudes posting their W's. This is just hilarious, because there's not a lot of guys whose initial response would be no anyway.
You look like you've held a blade before.
No.
Night's Watch could use a man like you.
Okay, so what's going on?
Just like that. Gotta love people.
What's up?
Cold winds rise in the north. A threat grows beyond the wall. Join the Night's Watch and fight for the realms of men.
Fuck it. Let's go.
You know?
I love this. I absolutely love this. It is absolutely true. Men want purpose. The grander, the more enticing it will be.
For real?
Yeah, you know, I'm down. Where do you want to go?
What's your name, stranger?
Angus.
Sir Angus the Brave.
Yeah.
Lesser men will sing songs of your bravery. To the tavern!
That's just hilarious. And it's quite true that men really do want to go. It doesn't matter if it's dangerous or not. We just want to be on a fucking adventure. Let's see. To the tavern, yeah. The moment his aura switched and locked in. Yeah, that's cute. The mountain awaits. I am going to the mountains. Fuck yeah. Girls. Should we invite Sarah? No, we've only known her for 6 months. Boys. Who is this? I don't know. I just found him on the street and thought he could come. Yeah, I mean, you can dress up like a member of the Night's Watch and carry a sword through downtown snowy country, but you'll never be as cool as the AK Mongolian horseman with a pet snow leopard. There's a modern druid for you right there. What men need is people handing out quests. This used to be how most men got work on the daily, even in Jesus' parables. I know the feeling this man had when he dropped the hoodie, and that's the feeling of purpose, of being needed. Yep. How easily dudes become friends. Yep. The Crow was so surprised that the other guy said yes at 25 seconds in that he broke character for a second. Yep. And that might very well have been the very first person he approached. No joke, I've been trying to join the Knights Templars to fight the next crusade. Join the Hospitallers. Less controversy. The best time I had was always while traveling, spending time with total strangers. That's not a good thing. Always on a quest of some sort. That was us every Friday night trying to score some weed before it became legal. Winter has come, and yet they just end up at the pub, tale as old as time. All it takes to be recruited. Sign me up, yeah. You have my sword. I would go in a second. Just that simple for happiness. I met one of my homies literally at a stoplight like this. We're still friends after 30 years, yeah. This reminds me of just randomly hitting it off with these two English guys who were in Buffalo seeing a necromantics show for some reason. And my friends and I just went bar hopping with them after the show, even though we all had work at like 7 a.m. the next day, because fuck it. When are we going to get to go bar hopping with two random English psychobillies again? Exactly. I wouldn't even need a word after, you look like you've held a sword before. Give me a blade, tell me where we're going. Yep. Why did this just make my soul happy? Because it speaks to the inner masculine. When you have nothing else better to do. In my experience, anyone named Angus is ready for adventure at a moment's notice. Oh dear. I guess they're going to make fun of Peter Dinklage. I guess we should let them.
In closing, my lords and ladies, my warning to you today, winter is coming.
All right, stop. Collaborate and...
Okay. That's, weird, to say the least. Okay. Just give me a minute to pop to my armory for the watch. Yeah. Okay. Going to point some things out here. Viking, or Saxon, potentially. Braveheart. Not 100% sure about this one. Possibly Lord of the Rings, but I don't think so. This one looks like Game of Thrones. The Rapiers, obviously, Musketeers. And clearly someone does like the old Hollywood ninja movies almost as much as I do. Or at least as much as I do, rather. Yeah. This feels like one of those GTA NPC random quests. Yep. Never run around on the roads in Skyrim. Let's see. So did Game of Thrones try to prepare us for the hordes that would come through the wall? Maybe, Nico. Maybe. My exact words too. Fuck it. I'm surprised you can walk around with a sword like that these days. I'm pretty sure that was either in the States or... Actually, I'm pretty sure that was in the States, to be fair. When he took his hoodie off, he knew shit was about to go down. Yes, life is burning. We need to spice it up once in a while. Lesser men will sing songs of your bravery. You had me at tavern. Will there be wenches? If there are not wenches, it's not a proper tavern. This is how guys make friends for... Yeah. Why are they both wearing microphones? Wouldn't bet that they were. But let's go back and check, actually. That's a fair point. I did have a suspicion this might have been a bit of a setup.
Before?
No.
You look like you've held a blade before.
No.
Night's Watch could use a man like you.
Okay, so what's going on? What's up?
Cold winds rise in the north. A threat
It might be that it was faked.
grows beyond the
Still
wall.
worth
Join the Night's Watch.
it. Is that? Okay, folks. I am going to take a short break. I will be back in about 15-20 minutes, give or take. And when I do get back, we'll start with the response stuff, the various news and things like that. That'll probably take me another hour into about 1 o'clock or so Newfoundland time, which would be about when I'd normally start anyway. So, yeah, I will be back shortly. In the meantime, I will leave you with... What will I leave you with? I know what I'll leave you with. Give me just a moment to grab it. And I'll be right back. There we are. You are here. Copy as path. I have to bring everything else back up again now. Okay, everything's back. Post that in there. Okay. And throw up my interlude graphic. I'll have to change the colors in that now. Okay, I will be back in just a few minutes. Okay, folks, sorry about that. I'm back, and would have been back just a shade sooner, but had to change some laundry over. That's the noise you're hearing in the background, if you're hearing anything. Wow, my mic is extremely sensitive. Okay. My camera should be back on. There it is. That's weird. Okay, so let's get into the... I'll close that. We'll get into the response stuff now. This is going to be a while. I'm going to end up taking a longer break at the end of this as well. So, from... Table salt? No, this is from De Civitas. De Civitas. Why does China have armed forces in the heart of the most energy and mineral-rich part of Canada? An independent Alberta will not tolerate Chinese interference in elections, Chinese police stations on its territory, and Chinese companies with armed forces in the most resource-rich sectors of the land. So this comes through Jeffrey Rath. Breaking. If anyone had any doubt about Communist Kearney's plans for the Alberta oil patch, read this. A text from an Albertan concerned about armed Chinese operators in the Alberta oil patch. So, I hauled a load of drilling mud from southern Alberta to a PetroChina location just north of Fort Mac. Upon getting on location, we had to be escorted to where we were to unload. We were only allowed outside the truck to untie the load. They had personnel to guide the loader that was unloading me, which I thought was very strange, as it's never done on any other location. While looking around, I seen 3 armed guards around location kind of staying to the shadows and not coming into the bright lights very much. When I was done unloading, I asked our escort why, and he just said, they're with PetroChina and don't ask any more. Having served, I did know they were carrying fully automatic AK-47s with what looked like minimum 30-round clips. Any questions, please feel free to ask or call if you want a quicker reply. Thanks again. Yeah. The Canada you grew up in doesn't exist anymore. Independence is Alberta's chance to rebuild something stronger. Kind of have to agree. And we've known for some time that China has operators on our soil, whether police stations or armed, what have you. So this one is from Bob Probert at Ensign Ashes. He's a parody account. However, funny hearing the your ancestors were immigrants argument from someone who just got here last Tuesday.
You're an immigrant. Go back to your country.
Now, I'll point out the accent that was used to say that was not a Canadian one. It was very much Indian. And I need to turn my sound up a little bit. We'll try it there.
Are you a real Canadian?
How dare you ask that fucking question with that thing on your head?
Let me clear you one thing. Your grandparents came here.
My grandparents didn't come here, son. My people have been here for almost 400 fucking years. You can kiss my ass.
Here from European countries, and after 200 years you are telling me that I am immigrant.
Yeah, because 400 years ago there was no Canada for you to immigrate to. Okay, there was no Canada to be immigrated to 400 years ago. There was no Newfoundland for people to immigrate to 400 years ago. It was built by the people who you are now taking advantage of by being here.
Is that fair?
Yeah, it's absolutely fair. If you weren't born in this country, you're an immigrant. If you were born to people who weren't born in this country, you're a first-generation Canadian. I'm technically a first-generation Canadian because my father was born under British rule. Yeah.
Canada is for all. If we have different skin color and we tie our...
It's not about your skin color, it's not about your turban. You could be exactly the same color, you could look exactly like me. And if you're not Canadian, you're simply not Canadian. You're an immigrant.
...on our heads, it doesn't mean we are beneath you. If we...
Who said anything about you being beneath us? Take your caste system back to India. It doesn't belong here. No one suggested you were beneath us. We said you were other.
You are frustrated, find some job and earn some handsome money like we did.
Oh, earn handsome money like you did. You mean when you basically broke yourselves bankrupt in your home country to afford to get to Canada so that you could get the government gibs. Yeah, somewhere around, or at least above, 5,000 Canadian a month you receive as an immigrant, refugee, what have you. Listen for the click.
I know 90% of Canadians love us and appreciate.
No, they don't. Because 90% of Canadians aren't even non-immigrant anymore.
What we did for Canada. My friend, don't spread hate against us.
Who said anything about hate? I don't hate you. You're just not my people. And I love my people.
Chill ਮਾਰ ਮਾਮਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਚ ਘੱਟ ਪੰਗੇ ਸੀ ਤਾਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ.
Now, whatever you were just saying, I didn't understand because it's not a Canadian language. I was the first one to upload this clip to X. This influencer makes his money promoting Punjabi businesses, including dangerous and often illegal trucking companies. That is him in the red jacket. Thank you, Aware Bears. I think I follow you. Yes, I do. Allow me to explain your country's identity to you and how it includes me. Yeah. What are we looking at here? No, just reset that then. Another one I have to open in a new tab so I can actually see it. Let's see. Let's build a new homeland for our posterity. Moves into wilderness. Foreign country to America or Canada. Moves into civilization and nation. Oh my god, these are the same thing. Yeah. I thought these people were supposed to be smarter than us. This one's from Table Salt. From Table Salt. Oh, what do you mean this page doesn't exist? I'll take that. From Table Salt. This is absolutely insane. He spends $722,000 on in-flight prime rib, while he gives Canadians $33 a month if a couple makes less than $14.87 an hour. And liberals will justify this. Carney spent over $772,000 on in-flight catering and accommodations last year. It hasn't even been a full year that he's been Prime Minister yet. Let that sink in. Data from Global Affairs Canada includes accommodations on a half dozen trips and catering costs on 9, with more to be counted. So that's only 6, 9. Let's call it, if we call it, yeah, okay, for generosity's sake, we'll call it 15. So divide by 10, 77.2 per trip. Divide again by half for the actual number. 38,500 per fucking trip. More than the average Canadian makes in a year, probably. Yeah, definitely way, way above the poverty line. But yeah, we're absolutely going to have to pay more taxes, buckle down, and make sacrifices, right? This is probably going to be the last thing I'll deal with from the Tumbler Ridge shooting. I just want to point this out. Canadian journalist misgenders transgender mass killer Jesse Van Rootseller as a him, and RCMP inspector corrects her live on the air. Says the police had attended the home for mental health issues in the past. Well, we knew about that part. It's this part that irks me to no end.
If you have questions, I'm prepared to take them at this time.
Officer Romina Dea from Global News, could you please expand a little bit on the suspect? Was he known to police? Were there any red flags regarding his mental health?
So a suspect is identified as an 18-year-old female by the name.
Catering to the pronoun-based whims of a murderer. This is a cop. Is that Dwayne McDonald, I wonder? That deputy police chief we were talking about earlier?
Of Jesse. We have...
yeah, Jesse, a historically female name, right?
A history of police attendance at the family residence. Some of those calls were related to mental health issues.
Unfucking real. Table Salt asks Grok, is this the worst mass shooting by a female in the history of the world, or not? What do you think? Oops. Grok's response. Based on reports, Jessie Van Rootseller, an 18-year-old trans woman, killed 8 people in the Tumbler Ridge shooting. This appears to be the deadliest solo mass shooting by a female perpetrator, exceeding Jennifer San Marcos' 7 victims in 2006. The San Bernardino attack, 14 killed, involved a female with a male partner. Yeah. Nth Degree says, that's a question they should have asked the RCMP guy to put him right on the spot. Absolutely. Who cares about the kids, right? Gotta show respect to the demon who took his rage out on children. Yeah. Transgenderism is the only mental illness demanding the rest of society adopt the patient's delusion as part of the patient's treatment. Dr. Paul McHugh, Distinguished Professor of Psychiatry, Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. Pure retardium. Yep, it is Wayne McDonald. 28 years experience in law enforcement. Yeah. Having served with the Canada Border Services Agency. Gee, why was he moved off of the Border Services Agency? Pronoun death cult. Gun person. Yeah, that was another thing. They referred to this person, this shooter, as a gun person. Not a gunman, not a gun woman. Gun person. And a bunch of people did point out that it reminded them of Trudeau using the phrase people kind. Or the term people kind. So, to find out how retarded Canadian police actually are, Canadian officers found a stockpile of 500 rounds of ammunition during a search warrant. A stockpile. A stockpile. Well, in a technical sense, yes. If you have some stored ammunition, it counts as a stockpile. I will point out that 22 Thunderbolt comes in boxes of 500 rounds. Yeah, 500 rounds of ammunition seized during search warrant. Do they actually show it? I'm willing to bet they didn't, but we'll check the article just to see. Usually they do like to show the picture of it, but if it turns out to be 500 rounds of 22, yeah, we should laugh at them and mock them relentlessly. Yeah, 500 rounds of ammunition, drug paraphernalia. So, yeah, no idea. Oh, this is today in retarded what the fuck land. Liberal white women, I'm not joking, are now getting freckles tattooed on their faces. That's been going on for a while. But, yeah, we'll just take a quick look at her tattoos here. Doesn't that look just lovely? Doesn't it just look like shit? Like, literal shit? That's not what a freckle looks like. This is what freckles look like. Yeah. And I did say that literally looks like shit. Low value, low IQ whites tend to be leftist, socialist, and communist. Like these Antifa members. Yeah. Being a retard is not a choice, be kind. Group photo of everyone who gives a fuck, yeah. Hard times create strong men. Caution, I take an SSRI and have no self-control. Bucket of retard juice. Speaking of people who've been drinking the retard juice. Oops. From the UK, a police officer takes away a woman's flag because the migrants were offended. Imagine snatching something from somebody because someone else might be offended in a country that supposedly has free speech and free expression. You don't. You're controlled. Yeah. And he's asked why, and apparently his response is, though I couldn't really understand all of it, I did hear the word offended. But, you know, let's, since we're talking about UK cops, and I completely understand why my friend Noosefus wants to get out of the UK when you see things like this. This is an unpaid volunteer officer who decides that you're not allowed to sing gospel songs in public. Listen to this.
Religion you're allowed to do anywhere.
No, miss, you're not allowed to sing church songs outside of church grounds, by the way.
You're not allowed to sing church songs outside
of church songs or church
you're not allowed
grounds. That's fine. That's
you're
fine.
not allowed. She just said you're not allowed to sing church songs.
Now, I understand this woman that's talking to this cop is upset and probably not thinking super clearly. My first response would be, so when are you planning to shut down the minarets? because those transmit past church grounds. When are you planning to arrest the Muslims who pray in the street and block traffic?
Outside of church.
Our church is outside the church grounds unless you have unless
That's
you're
a load
being
of rubbish.
authorized by the
You're
church.
allowed.
Unless you're being authorized by the church. Being part of the religion is all the authorization you would need. I can't believe I'm an atheist and I'm arguing this shit.
This kind of song.
Are you saying
Article 9. The right to freedom of religion and belief is one of the rights protected by the Human Rights Act. In Britain. Yeah.
that you don't care about the
Watch her
Human Rights Act?
reaction
You're
when
not.
she's challenged. What a lovely person to have controlling your rights.
Religion you're allowed to do anywhere.
No, miss,
Yeah.
you're not
You
allowed
are.
to sing.
Just a gross bitch. She's an unpaid volunteer. Who doesn't see that as a huge red flag? I hope that someday the UK gets their country back. Yeah. Can't sing church songs, but can play Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day and block the streets. They've really brought down the English with this moronic nonsense. Before I saw it with my own eyes, I thought people were kidding. I had always thought of England as superior in many ways, including sophistication, intelligence. My God, why did they let it go so far? Why weren't the smart ones out on the streets? Because they were told if they argued, they were being racist. And that was enough for them to be pressured into not doing anything. This one actually belonged in Six Impermentalis, but it's going to be here now. So this is from N3 of 6, days 9. Wife refuses to feed her 5-year-old stepson because it's, quote, his job to feed his child, even though the husband works and she doesn't. She says he should be there more for her kids than his own son, after he once said he wouldn't buy for her non-biological kids. So kids that weren't his biologically. Huge hypocrisy or fair payback? Well, this one's actually a bit nuanced.
So my son told me you didn't feed him this morning. What's up
Because
with
you
that?
weren't here. You
I
weren't
wasn't
here.
I wasn't.
Okay. First problem. You let a child born from your husband's previous relationship go hungry. Period. And your excuse is you weren't here. Listen for the click. That's one.
Yeah, what you mean, kid? I wasn't here. What you mean?
It's your job to feed your child.
It's your job to feed your child. Bitch, you don't work. Number 2.
What do you mean?
It's kid. That don't make sense. It's both our jobs to feed the kids.
No. It's
You're married. You knew he had kids ahead of time. Married him anyway, and now you're refusing the duty of a mother. Number 3. I'm gonna lose count.
not. That's your son. You remember
That's your son.
when you told me that you weren't gonna buy my son or my kids anything because they're not biologically yours?
So you gonna go?
Okay, so now with that particular piece of evidence, I have one for the father, the husband.
Tip for tat back and forth. That's what you want to
Yeah,
do now.
because now you understand how it feels.
Okay. Feelings. You're using your feelings to override your duty to that child. You married his father. You have a duty to provide for that child now.
So now I'm feeding my kids,
My kids. I already lost count.
and whenever you decide to feed your son,
Your son.
then he can eat. Whatever. You weren't here this morning.
Kid.
Why wasn't he there that morning? Because he was fucking working, bitch.
Kid, listen, I'm not gonna play this game with you. You don't pay no bills. So
You don't pay any bills.
I'm not sure why you mad that I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure why you mad that I'm not buying your kids stuff. Every time I buy my kids something, I'm already spending money in the household. What's the problem?
Okay, so he keeps you and your kids that aren't his. And you refuse to feed his children, or his child. And the whole argument happening in the first place. Neither of you belong in a marriage. We have to go back to the UK. This one's from Elon Musk, though it is a repost. Elon Musk reposts and says, or quotes and says, there will be a reckoning. I did point out that there must be a reckoning. It's probably buried down in the thread now. But from Alexandra, for Alexandra Denman, I assume. So we'll pause this here. 3 men protesting against the rape of a young white British girl have been jailed for doing so, for speaking out to protect her and other girls in Epping. However, the illegal foreigners who raped the girl got less time, and he's here illegally. Make it make sense. I don't think there's any actual sound on this. No, it's just music. In the UK, 3 British men who protested because a young girl was raped by an illegal migrant have been jailed for a longer period than the illegal migrant rapist. Yeah. Do we have anything else from Britain? Nope, but we do have some more women being women. This one is from Kachi. Kachi Day for you. And her husband kicked her out after she did this.
My husband told me that I needed to pack my stuff and get the fuck out the house.
Her husband kicked her out after she did this.
My husband is mad at me because he walked in and he saw that I'm making breakfast, and I told him that this was for me and my daughter, and that if he wanted
Another one who doesn't belong in a fucking marriage. Me and my daughter.
some, he needs to cook for himself. If you're that hungry, there's a McDonald's down the street, or
So you work and pay bills, bitch?
there's eggs in the fridge and there's bacon, and you can make it yourself. I told him, if you don't want to cook, you could wait and see if there's any leftovers. If there's leftovers, go ahead and eat. And then on top of that, I'm doing scrambled eggs. He wants a fried egg. That's
Oh no. You can't do scrambled eggs in half the pan and a couple of fried eggs in the other? Lazy.
too much work.
I didn't know that me
it's too
making that video was gonna upset him so much. I literally have nowhere to go. My husband told
Yeah. You just fucked up. You told your husband you didn't give a fuck about him, as long as you were taken care of. You wonder why guys aren't marrying single mothers? Or marrying in general, when this is the kind of shit we have to look forward to? Let's see, what else do we have for women being women? Oh, this one. This is funny. No, I mean it's really, really funny. I agree with this woman. Who wants a tilted sink? This is from Dr. Jebra.
And I'm looking at the sinks, and I like these.
Looking at the sinks.
Depot, and I'm looking at the sinks, and I like these, but I don't like the tilted countertops and sinks because I like to set stuff on top of the sinks. Not on the sinks, but on the countertops. And you can't on these. It would just roll right off. And that's how most of them are. I much prefer these because you could set stuff on them and it wouldn't just roll.
Oh my fucking Christ. I truly hope this is something somebody made as a joke. But for fuck's sakes, it's so hard to tell. Let's see. Oh, fuck. I've got a bunch of shit today. Let's start at the bottom. What is this one? Yeah. We're back to the UK again. I'm not going to play the video. I'll just let it play in the background. Or while it's playing like this. Breaking from Right Angle News Network. A UK jury has refused to convict 6 Palestinian activists who broke into a facility using a van and sledgehammers, including one who fractured a female officer's spine with a hammer, that would be a sledgehammer, leaving her permanently disabled. It's a good thing they didn't say a slur online, though. Is this meant to be the female officer? I hope not. Oh, these are Free Palestine activists. Yeah. The jury refused to convict them. Yeah. Also in Britain. Actually, I think this might not be the one I'm thinking it is. This is from the British Patriot. UK primary school brands child racist for refusing Ramadan activity. Yeah, this one's a little bit deceptive, and I'm going to point it out. Child, why do we have to? I'm not doing that. Do I have to? You can't make me. School, added to behavior record plus racist incidents log. Now, it's a primary school. Here in, well, Newfoundland, a primary school is generally kindergarten to grade 4. Or, sorry, grade 3. However, I do want to point out part of this, because this is a little bit of deceptive gathering here. So, I'm writing to inform you of a racist incident which took place at school today. Our definition of racial harassment, blah. During the introduction of our assembly on Ramadan, the boy had said on several occasions, can I shrink that? Yes. Why do we have to do that? I'm not doing that. You can't make me. I'm not something that. Do I have to? What even is that? If I don't, will you make me? Once we began to practice. Now, at this point, I'm on board with this kid and his parent. Absolutely, this sounds like a well-raised child who says, I'm not taking part in the religious activities of another religion. Fine. This. Once we began to practice, the boy was then pointing and laughing at other children who were singing along, which upset them as a result. Okay. By all means, raise your child. And I do apologize for the added background noise of the washer draining. But by all means, raise your child to be assertive and stand up for themselves. Don't raise your child to be a dickhead. This one, this is an example of somebody who really made a bad mistake here. An older man sits down for a haircut, hears it's $30, and immediately walks out saying he's not paying that. Is $30 too much for a haircut? How much do you pay? I wouldn't pay $30 for a haircut. Look at my head. I can use my own clippers and razors. I'm good. Haven't paid for a haircut in... Actually, let me rephrase. The last time someone else cut my hair was getting on 30 years ago, when I actually allowed a hairstyling class in my college to straight razor shave my head so that they could get qualification. Yeah. And also, the best haircut I've ever had. The only person who came anywhere near cutting me was actually the instructor, who was going a little fast on the little bump on the back of my head. Yeah. And she didn't cut me. She just kind of hooked the skin and backed off. Is $30 too much for a haircut? No. Prices are going up. But this is the problem. You're not a barber until you've dealt with this. Old guy comes in. Sat down. I'm going to guess the guy hasn't started cutting his hair. And the guy said, it's $30. The guy got up and walked out. That's fine. What's the problem? If he had sat there and gotten a haircut and then said, oh, I'm not paying that, that would be an issue. You're not a barber until you've dealt with this. Well, dude, when you walk in the door, and a lot of barbershops tend to post their prices, so I don't know where the issue is here. From Rational Posts, I believe this one. Rational Posts. The public transit I'm on right now just had an announcement to mark Black History Month and how its diversity enriches us all. Odd they said that as I was scrolling through the Toronto Police's Most Wanted list celebrating our diversity. Von Shears is probably the only white person there, and they have no photo of him. Yeah. Yeah. This is cute. This one is from Anti-Left Memes. What is the first thing you would do if an immigrant family knocked on your door and asked you to hide them in your attic? Would you? Because that's where we're at. No. Why are they afraid? If they're legal immigrants, all they have to do is show their papers, and they're good. If they're illegal immigrants, I wouldn't hide them in my attic because that would be harboring a fugitive. Yeah. It seems that the idea of harboring a fugitive has kind of faded from people's minds somehow. This one, I got quite a chuckle out of this. This is also from End of Days, Helen. So these two black women showed up at 2 a.m. to ring this guy's doorbell, insisting their iPhone is inside this guy's house. So we'll play this.
These two strange women are looking for the location of a missing iPhone at 2 in the morning. They insist that their phone is inside this house, and they want to go inside. Look what happens next.
Okay. Anyone with a lick of sense knows better than to walk up to a stranger's door and say, hey, let me in, my phone's in there.
What do you guys need? The iPhone you picked up.
How do you know it was him?
My phone is ringing in right here at this location. It's an iPhone, and we followed it right here. And I would like to just have it instead of calling the police about it. There's no iPhone here.
So your address is in 27545?
It's...
Is that not your address? Because I have I have the iPhone satellite on Find My iPhone, and it's showing exactly the house.
You know what?
One y'all room.
It shows location right here.
It shows exactly. It shows a tree right next to us too.
I would like to just...
A satellite shows the tree.
Just have it instead of calling the police.
Because it's been a few days now.
I would like to just have it instead of calling the police.
So, this was suggested as a setup for a home invasion, lost phone mix-up, or something sketchy. If it's a setup for a home invasion, it's already sketchy, Helen. This is my response. If it's a home invasion attempt, it's not a very sophisticated one. If it were me, I would simply say to them, hang on, I'll get the cops on the line. If you want to come in, you're going to have to wait till they get here and then we'll decide. Willing to bet they bolt the moment you say that. Somebody responded to me, apparently. I know a man who did the same thing to retrieve his kid's phone. Of course, it was not at 2 a.m. Yeah, and the situation may have been extremely different. Tell them to get lost and call the cops. I wouldn't tell them to get lost at all. I'd tell them, hang on, I've got to get dressed and use the washroom. And I'll let you in. And then I just call the cops. And, of course, have my friends Remington, Colt, Smith, and Wesson waiting with me. This would be my answer. Yeah, I won't shoot somebody just because they're asking. Now, at 2 a.m. in the morning, it's suspicious as hell, sure. A guy tried to do that to me once. Luckily, I had somebody that was in a position of influence to help get a decent police response and a warrant issued at the time, because at first they was just blowing me off. Easy as ABC. I would call the police myself. 2 a.m. in the morning, you have two people beating on your door looking for a cell phone that doesn't exist. Could this be a setup? Yeah. He could say, call the police or I will. Yeah. If you don't call the cops, I will. It won't take long because he lives next door. I'm not opening the door until the police arrive. This is sketchy as all get out. No honest, reasonable person goes fishing for phones at that hour. No honest and reasonable person would want to avoid getting the police involved. That, combined with their entitled attitude, makes me think it's a setup. Release the hounds. Locked, loaded, and ready. Definitely called the police to ask them to pick up the garbage. Meet them with my Italian friend Benelli. I don't answer my door, and neither should you. Don't talk to them through the door. Don't open it a crack to see what they want. Don't let them even know you're home. I will point something out. If you use a ring cam to tell somebody you're not home, then they have... If they're not particularly sensible, and let's be real, most criminals aren't particularly smart, if you tell them you're not home, they might very well just kick your door in and ransack your place and fuck off with everything they want. Charles says he'd offer to call the police myself. Presuming that the home residents know they don't have it, they should call the police. Two people show up at 2 a.m. after a few days now of the phone showing this location. I don't think so. Traced my stolen phone to a house not at 2 a.m. while the homeowners invited me in, denying it was there. The house was full of burner phones to the point of comical. My suspicion was that the thieves had come by or were nearby, had attempted or intended to sell it there. Ma'am, my town is 90% white. I know the mayor, the chief, and many of the detectives. Please call the police. I'll be here waiting. In fact, I've already called. Yeah. I don't think I would tell them that I had called the cops, because I would want the cops to be able to catch them. Another funnier one for you. Pause this. To all the white parents out there, from Champagne Joshi, this is how you respond when your child comes home spouting critical race theory talking points at the dinner table.
We're playing at maybe being like white critical. Maybe we're white traitors, but the goal is to be white abolitionists. And that means actually
changing institutions, dismantling whiteness, and not allowing whiteness to reassert itself. But we're pretty much light years away from that.
Are you fucking retarded?
That is in
What the fuck are you talking about? You're white.
we're playing.
For anyone wondering where this is from, this is from the movie Eddington. Jesus, that's actually something somebody released as a film. You said everyone has racial bias. Everyone has implicit and racial biases. Which races do you harbor racial biases against? Yeah, they don't like to answer that question. Pro tip, white is commie speak for competent, which is a trait lazy as fuck commies just cannot abide. No. When are we going to get past skin color? Okay, you may not, maybe you're just not aware of this, but sweetheart, we have never gotten past skin color. Not as a species. And we never will. Or at least it doesn't look like we will anytime soon. Well, we started with Japan. Let's go back to Japan. From Dr. Malouf, the new Japanese Prime Minister said she will deport all culturally incompatible foreigners from Japan, such as these Islamist migrants who took over a children's playground to pray and demand Sharia law. Do you agree? Yeah, don't fuck with the kids in Japan, dude. That's just a bad, bad idea. Had enough of stupid cops. Even the French are starting to notice. And I mean the French, not the Canadian French. From Basil the Great. Wow, French journalist tells the truth on live TV. He just visited Poland and says it's still Polish. But France is not France anymore. Poland is safe, proud, and free. Look at what we've done to France. It's a mess. This is just over a minute long.
Mais il est vrai que quand on visite
It's true that when you visit a certain number of countries and come back to
un
France,
certain nombre de pays et que l'on revient en France, on se dit
you say to yourself, but my God, what have they done with our country?
mais mon Dieu, qu'ont-ils fait de notre pays?
And it's true that Poland is still Poland, while France is no longer France. That's really all we need. Yeah. Even the French are starting to get the idea. So, yeah. Let's see. From Francis Widdowson, who, if you remember, is one of the people challenging the, how to term it, the residential school genocide narrative. This is what happened at University of Lethbridge, she's tagging Danielle Smith, when we tried to discuss residential school genocide. We need a public inquiry about how to restore our universities to be academic spaces once more. No, you don't. You don't need a public inquiry at all. It's very clear what has to be done. I don't know why so few people see it, or think that you need to have a government tell you what it is. Also, that's not how you spell apologist. And dear God, how'd you get to university with that level of spelling? Also, you need a comma after off in fuck off Francis. Look at these lovely people. Oh, but that drum is a sacred object for our rituals and ceremonies. Yeah, and you're weaponizing it. Also, who the fuck are you? Now, just in case anybody is curious, I'll show you what Francis Widdowson looks like. I would very much like to sit down and have a conversation with Miss Widdowson, or Mrs. Widdowson. Here we are. Oh, that's actually quite old. Let's see. Should be a fairly newer image on... Of course, there's not a single image there. Oh, yeah. APTN is investigating denialism. Fuck off. Is that her on Facebook? Yes. Okay. Open that image. Okay, so this is from her Facebook account. Or purportedly her Facebook account. And this is what she looks like. She's just a little old lady. Yeah. But it's not the first time we've seen the lefties go after the little old women. Yeah, here's the new one. Remember the women screaming in the woods and shit? We've got a new one. Now they're doing this ice throwing thing. From Clear Patriot, sorry. Does this look like mental stability? This woman says she saw a TikTok suggesting... Let's open this up a bit. My biggest struggle as a new mom is my anger. You're a new mother, and you're angry about it? Or you're just frustrated and don't know how to deal with it, so you're doing this shit. Which, for the record, is whipping ice cubes into a tub. Where's your child? I saw a TikTok suggesting ice throwing as a good way to release. Also, she doesn't particularly look like she's recently given birth, does she? Completely satisfies that need to destruct without being destructive. Except you're chipping your tub, potentially frightening your child, concerning your spouse. Oh wait, you probably don't have one. Yeah. Possessed by the spirit of hatred, giving into violence that spirit urges at the smallest provocation makes the spirit's influence dig deeper into you. From Brother Avarice. This is why she can't help herself, because she will eventually lash out at whatever she can. Yes, and she will use her anger as an excuse to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I was just so angry because of something someone else had done. One of the other reasons why the French might be finding their country not their country anymore. From Basil the Great again. France has voted to move forward a proposal to allow non-French citizens to vote in their elections. This is, in fact, how the globalists stay in power. They can't control their own citizens anymore, so they need to import new voters from abroad. Yeah, which is exactly what Canada's been doing. Oh, you're right. You had to be a citizen to vote in the election. You don't to vote for the party leaders, though. Yeah. And, yeah, we saw in Spain they made over 500,000 or around 500,000 migrants, legal or not, citizens, so that they could vote. France is doing something similar. I'm sure Canada will do something similar before too long, too, because out of the spirit of compassion for the people who deserve to make Canada their home. Yeah. That guy's a dickhead. We'll come back to him later. Skip that one for now. Let's see. Copy link. This is from... Excuse me. Riley Donovan. A new poll shows 62% of Canadians would rather be born in 1950 than today. Being a Newfoundlander, I don't fall into that 62%. If I had to choose, I would rather have been born in around about 1920-ish. Yeah. And that's absolutely because I'd like to go counter that communist Joey Smallwood, the little piece of shit that dragged Newfoundland into Canada. Because it was the closest, and I'm quoting verbatim from an interview he did, he could get Newfoundland to communism. Speaking of fucking dysgenic weirdos who should be looked at as... Oh, that's not right. There we go. Speaking of dysgenic weirdos that should be looked at askance, this guy. This is from Nick Freitas. Great follow on both YouTube and X. This is much darker than you think. He's probably not pushing this because he wants to abort infants and toddlers. So why would an adult be suggesting that infants and toddlers are not conscious beings? What activity do you suppose he is trying to justify? Planned Parenthood doctor Stephen Ralston claims that infants and toddlers likely do not feel pain because they are not, quote, conscious beings. Just last year, we had this bullshit about how you had to stab a lobster in the fucking head so it wouldn't feel pain when you dropped it into a pot of boiling water. And now you're going to try and tell me that toddlers and infants don't feel pain when we can see fear reactions from them in the womb during abortions. Fuck you, Stephen Ralston, you piece of fucking shit. Oop, that wasn't what I wanted. And speaking of the kids that we really need to try and reach and protect, from Michael A. Arrowette, this is probably the most eye-opening chart you will see today. Why is socialist indoctrination at universities and in legacy media so successful? Because there's so fucking many of them. Socialism has always brought misery and oppression, no exceptions. Why don't young people understand history? A favorability of socialism among Americans aged 18 to 29. Favorable 62%. I do believe I have a response down here. I do. Young people don't understand history because they're not being taught it. What they're being taught is why socialism failed because of capitalism. The problem is, and let me lay this out for you just from my own experience. As a kid, I was given to understand that Hitler was the most evil mass murderer in the world, ever. Nobody bothered to bring up Genghis Khan, or Stalin's Holodomor, or Pol Pot's killing fields. Or was that Chiang Kai-shek? The killing fields in Cambodia. All of which higher body counts than Hitler ever got near. Yeah. They own nothing, they know nothing, perfect audience. Yeah. You will own nothing and you will be happy, because we'll make sure you can't own anything. It's probably part of it. This one, I had a bit of a back and forth with a guy about. This is, to me, far from self-defense. This is also from Table Salt. Sikh security guard caught on camera in Prince Albert, slapping a native woman in the face after she tries to slap him. What are your thoughts? Well, having been a security guard, I'm probably in a slightly unique position to analyze this. Now, she's obviously intoxicated. She is fucked out of her trees, drunk, at the very least. She's already falling over. The other guy is trying to hold her up, keep her from moving. Now, she did not try to slap him. She tried to poke him in the face. Fine. Watch what happens here. He moves immediately back in and slaps her back. Is that acceptable? In public. When you're wearing that on the back of your jacket? Not a bit. It's completely unprofessional. That, and I'll point something else out as well. So I want to go back to here. You see how this guy is holding her? She reaches in, grabs him. He pulls her back. He's already got her restrained when this guy is moving forward. Okay. No, you don't do that. Your job is not punishment, dude. Your job is not retribution. You could have defended yourself by going when she was reaching for your face, but you didn't choose to do that. So it's not proactive defense. This is actually an attack. It's a loss of temper and an attack. It's punishment. Did she deserve it? It's hard to argue. That said, should he have done it? Fuck no. You're a security guard. Do your fucking job. Your job does not include punishing people. Your job is to protect people, even from themselves. Christopher Columbus would be really confused if he were to be reanimated in 2026. Ain't that the fucking truth? I don't want to deal with that today. I'm not dealing with that today. Oh, yeah. I don't know what you people in New York expected, but I'm sure it wasn't this. This is from Eric Dougherty. Breaking. Terrifying sight as New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani calls on America to look to Islam and the Prophet Muhammad to support a pro-mass migration stance. Islam is built on migration. Absolutely not. We need to repel Islam from America. In New York, where the World Trade Center attack happened, this guy has been elected. That alone is a fucking shock. But then to hear him say this and get fucking applauded?
I think of the freedom from suffering that Buddhism teaches us is only possible if we remove the three poisons of desire, hatred, and ignorance from our daily lives.
Yes, remove your poisonous
We need
desires
not accept
so that
suffering
you don't
as
want
unchangeable.
anything.
We need not treat hatred as the natural state. We have the power to set ourselves free. And I consider my own faith, Islam, a religion built upon a narrative of migration.
Islam was started by a fucking warlord who liked to have sex with a 9-year-old. Get fucked.
The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
That gabbled noise he just made means peace be upon him.
was a stranger too,
He was a stranger, was he?
who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina.
Why'd he flee Mecca?
Surah An-Nahl 1642 tells us, as for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being
Okay. Those of you not aware of it, the Quran says it's perfectly acceptable to lie to the non-Islam. It's perfectly acceptable to lie to a non-Muslim. Anything you do to a non-Muslim is perfectly acceptable, but you're not allowed to do it to Muslims. Yeah. But all religions are equally bad, right, atheists? Right? Christianity says, don't lie, period. Islam says, don't lie to them. You don't lie to your fellow Muslims. Judaism, and I'll quote the Old Testament for this one, says, if your slave is a Jew, you're only allowed to keep him for so long, and you have to treat him differently than non-Jewish ones. Yeah.
persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world. Or, as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Islam began as something strange and will go back to being strange.
Islam began as something strange and will go back to being strange. Okay, dude. Ditch that one. Oh, here's a really nice one that I like. This is from... where? From Wall Street Apes. You literally can't make this up. Somalia just implemented a new program issuing voter ID cards to every voter. This is to ensure every voter can only vote once. An ID is mandatory for voting. But Ilhan Omar and Democrats reject ID for voting in America. Yeah. Pretty fucking hilarious, isn't it? Oops. Well, that's fine. Nope. Denmark is wrong about this particular point, but we'll let it stand for now. Steve from Steve Loves Ammo, reposting Bernardo Kastrup. Breaking. Denmark announces historical claim to North America. Our Vikings were there in 1021 CE, 754 years before the USA existed. If we're doing territorial grabs based on who was there first, we'll see ourselves in. Yeah. So this is from Angelique Norland on Threads. Yeah, come and take it. Yeah. Okay. I'll deal with that one a little later. Gun stuff. Oh, okay. Yeah. Since we're talking about retardation in various places, let's talk about the U.S. justice system. From Kevin Sorbo. Hi, Kevin. A Louisville jury recommended 65 years in prison for a man convicted of kidnapping, robbery, and sexual assault, including rape/sodomy. The judge cut the sentence in half because the suspect was a, quote, victim of society. Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. That's not mercy to the guilty. That's doing what white people should be doing. Yeah, this is clearly not about being merciful, but about sticking it to the white man's society. Seems fair. It's also, and I should have probably added this, it's also about displaying loyalty to your own kind. And that's what we should be doing in the West. For example, that would be a good way to counter shit like this. From Basil the Great again, they want us to change who we are. Britain will always be British. Sanjita Pillai thinks the hill she will die on is Britain's love saying thank you. I think we should ban the phrase. The fuck? Why would you want to ban the phrase thank you? What is the point of this endless conversational back and forth? Step out of the loop and change your life. By not saying thank you? This bitch is crazy. Speaking of crazy bitches. Yeah, it's one of those days. We have some more crazy bitches. So the CEO, from Mr. Nobody, the CEO of the Institute for Sustainability Leadership, Lindsay Hooper, claims that water, soil, and oxygen should not be infinitely accessible. She proposes classifying them as assets and placing them on a global balance sheet. And a quote from her, "So the stories about having to pay for a breath of air will soon no longer be gloomy jokes, but a very real prospect. You will own nothing, and you will be happy." These people are insane. Holy shit, that's Jewish as fuck. These unelected criminal globalists... Okay, a bunch of people have pointed this out as well about the World Economic Forum's logo. That it does, in fact, resemble a certain number from the Bible. Yeah, we'll leave Vlad there while I talk about this. When we used to say Klaus Schwab was like a Bond villain, we were actually joking. Now these people seem to actually want to be Bond villains. It's fucking retarded. How they get away with this, how they even think that having the temerity to say this publicly is something that won't come back to haunt them is beyond me. Okay. We'll do this one fairly quick, because it's meme-based. Men, will you stay if she accidentally cheated? No, you must divorce your wife instantly. A secure man will not leave a loyal wife just because she accidentally cheated once. Yes, that's the phrasing they're using, accidentally cheated. How the fuck does a bitch accidentally cheat? What happened? She slipped, fell, landed on his cock? Yeah. So long, and thanks for all the fish. Yeah, I don't blame the fucking dolphins for leaving. Okay. This one should... Well, no, this one belongs here because he doesn't actually get what a six temperamentalist would get. But he's definitely a dickhead. From Grifty, the Grift Report. It's become a new trend to turn off elevators. That's not an elevator, by the way, that's an escalator. And stand there blocking them to piss people off. What would you do? I made it very clear what I think I would do. Rabbit. Fisted hand. I didn't realize that was called a fisted hand. But, yeah, we'll just watch this video. And you guys let me know in the comments down below what you think you would do. Okay. So, asshole enough to turn off the escalator. Then he does this. Yeah, I'd either rabbit punch him in the back of the head, or I'd boot fuck his nuts, because that stance, you just opened them way up there, Junior. See, in the days before cameras, and everybody having a camera, you could do things like that to people because they did shit like this. Get on like an asshole. Get treated like an asshole. I would send this man flying, says Adamental. Can't disagree with that. Nathan Hale's love child. Well, you know. Yeah. Yep. It's not really a joke, but yeah. Good way to catch a fade real quick. I'll be the first one to walk down that thing, catch you off guard. At the core of liberalism is the spoiled child, miserable, as all spoiled children are, unsatisfied, demanding, ill-disciplined, despotic, and useless. Liberalism is a philosophy of sniveling brats. And you know damn well if someone had actually boot-fucked him in the testicles, he would absolutely scream about how it was unfair and he didn't deserve it. It's just a prank, bro. Yeah, Schrodinger's asshole. Yeah. Since we had a judge earlier, we'll look at this one. Good idea or horrible idea, asks C3C3. Replace judges with AI. Strict following of the law and constitution without the activism and legislation from the bench. But no emotion or empathy as well. Thoughts? My thinking? It's a bad idea. Part of the reason we put human beings on the bench is because the law is not a very rigid thing. It should not be applied rigidly. Fairly, yes, but not rigidly. Think about one of the things the liberals like to propose is, well, what do you do if a man steals bread to feed his child? Do you treat him the same as the guy who stole $2 million from a bank because he just wanted to go get drugged up? Do you treat the guy who steals to feed his family, the guy who steals to feed a heroin addiction, and the guy who steals to feed a thrill-seeking addiction? Do you treat all three of those the same? Then you can use AI. Yeah, it's also why I'm opposed to mandatory minimums. You have to have a certain degree of flexibility. We're going to have to stick with human judges because it just is what it is. Yes, an AI could look at precedent, but then when the legislation is changed by humans who have agendas, then you have a problem. Yeah. Oran McIntyre wants to bomb Canada. I don't think I disagree with him when you see a story like this, though. Hi, Oran. We have to bomb Iran and keep fighting proxy wars with... Oh, sorry. Keep fighting proxy wars with Russia because of human rights or something. Meanwhile, in Canada. Yeah, he doesn't want to bomb Canada. May have had that wrong. Maybe it's me. From lifenews.com. Canada may start euthanizing babies. We'll have a quick scan of that story. Let's see how it comes up in the... Yeah. No, I don't want to be shown notifications. Canada's Medical Assistance in Dying program, also known as MAID, already one of the world's most permissive euthanasia regimes, may soon extend to disabled newborns. That possibility is reigniting horror among pro-life advocates who warn of a slippery slope toward eugenics. How do you think it's not eugenics already? And not really eugenics at all. The intention of eugenics was to improve the race. This seems to be targeted at a specific race. Hi. Ever watched a Maid commercial? Not very many non-whites in them. The Quebec College of Physicians recently told the British newspaper Daily Mail that it believes, quote, medical assistance in dying may be an appropriate treatment for babies suffering from extreme pain, and that, quote, parents should have the opportunity to obtain this care for their infant. Care. Treatment. Fucking dystopian bastards. And, yeah, Max weighs in as well, Max Bernier. And we'll just... It's the same story, so just drop the link here. Max Bernier, just thinking about it is crazy. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. They've been wanting to do minors for a while. Yeah, mature minors now is one of the terms that's being thrown around as well. Let's see. Apparently, we've had a lot of police corruption, and it wasn't just limited to Toronto, apparently. The police corruption wasn't limited to Toronto. This is coming out from Gen Xer about Peel Police. I think this is... Well, no, it's someone other than Jay, but this is where he's where I got it. Is the question now...
The police corruption investigation continues with more officers now being suspected, this time with the Peel Regional Police. In a statement to City News, Peel Police are confirming 3 officers have been suspended pending further investigation by York Regional Police. No charges have been laid At this time, 7 Toronto
Of course
police...
not. So, this apparently appears to be connected to the York Regional Police one. You know, the one where one of the cops tried to have a hit carried out on a fucking correctional officer. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. And then people wonder why I would ever suggest this was a good idea. We have 2 more videos to go, and then I'm done for this, and then I have to actually do an errand. So, do you support this? Asks Tom Sowell quotes. Thomas Sowell. Also, for the record, if you've never heard of Thomas Sowell or have no idea who he is, you should look him up.
On. Out. Racket. Dump it. Magazine. Drop it. Racket. Dump it. Magazine. Drop it. Dump it. Slow down. Dump it. Clear it.
1, 2, 3.
In the holster. Good job. On.
Mean. Right? Teach your kids jujitsu. Teach your kids how to fight. Teach your kids how to fucking defend themselves. They're going to need it. I didn't want to do this one, but it's still lingering there, so let's get this out of the way. From Natasha Montreal, ChatGPT doesn't want Canadians to understand the standard protocols involved in euthanasia. For example, paralyzing patients to give the appearance of a peaceful murder to onlookers. For our safety. Now, where have we heard about our safety before? Okay, so ChatGPT responding to Natasha. Hi, Natasha, glad you're here. Studying with ChatGPT can cover everything from quick fact checks and deep research to practice writing and step-by-step problem solving. Don't fucking believe it. The question being asked is rocuronium used and made in Canada? And the response, yes, in Canada's medical assistance in dying, intravenous protocol, rocuronium is commonly used as the final drug in the sequence. It is given after sedation and coma induction to paralyze the muscles and stop breathing, which leads to death. Here's how the standard clinician administered... Yeah, well, we'll let this play and see if it pops up or not. Yeah, okay. From the Delta Hospice Society, the made cocktail, rocuronium. Dr. Joel Ziva testifying to the Senate of Canada, February 2nd, 2021. Paralytics are not even used in the U.S. as part of euthanizing animals. This is true. Though in the defense of that particular euthanization practice, you don't need to paralyze something to put a bullet through its head. Or hit it with to dock it, for example, like you would in a slaughterhouse. Dr. Zivo says, sure. Let me add that what is most distressing about this is the fact that MAID includes in its protocol the use of a paralyzing drug. Now, once a paralyzing drug is given, a person can no longer move, so all bets are off. To claim that this is a death that is peaceful, well, it can be nothing else, because now a person is unable to move in any way, but whether or not they have any conscious experience of what is happening is unknown. I will tell you again that paralytics are not even used in the U.S. as part of euthanizing animals, so the fact that we are using them in medical assistance in dying is most distressing. Yeah, they're not used to put your dog down either, for example. Finally, I would say that it's important that if MAID is to be used, it should be clear to the Canadian public that the kind of death that they will experience as a consequence of MAID will be something other than the way it is represented. It could be exceedingly painful and more akin to drowning. Yeah, we don't know, because once you're paralyzed, how are you going to tell anybody? Notice GPT getting worse. Yeah, I don't trust any of the AIs at all. I had another story here, but we're down to the last 2, and I kind of want to get these out of the way. Shoot. Actually, I'm going to end on that one and bring this one up instead. No last minute changing your mind on that suicide, right? Yeah. Get them while they're warm. Speaking of get them, I think I would be yelling, get that son of a bitch, if I saw this. This is at a, I'm going to assume a rental range. The name of the place is Gunfight. Appears to be, anyway. If it is, and you have one in your town, I would question very, very strictly where the fuck the range safety officer is. Look at that. He literally did this. Watch what he does here. Lifts the gun, pulls the trigger, puts his fucking head down and turns the other way. And he's behind her. Are you fucking retarded? I would slap the snot out of him. Look at that. He's flagging the shit out of the back of her head. And then he does this. Shoots past her. He's not wearing any ear pro either, by the way. He's close enough to her, she can feel the fucking bullet going by. She has no idea how close to death she... Look at this. He's fired this gun, and he's doing this. Are you fucking retarded? Where the fuck is the range safety officer? And please, for the dear love of fuck, don't tell me he's the range safety officer. Oh, yeah, not even fucking aiming, dude. Right? Just putting them down range, not giving a fuck. This is from Moni Fun Girl. I'll actually follow her. This fucking guy would get a serious talking to. Actually, I'm going to unfollow you for that. You don't talk to people like that. You give them a fucking correction. You give them a corporal correction. Also, sorry about your head. Sorry if you were wearing headphones for that. He would get a serious talking to from me and would never come back to any range I was ever at ever again. This isn't funny. He's an idiot. No, he's a dangerous fucking moron. Guy should be banned. I doubt she would have been wearing that if not for clickbaiting. Also, good point. I'm guessing this is his range and he thinks this idiocy trains people for being under fire. Of course, he's wrong, and the young woman needs to be taught to dress appropriately. Stop worrying about what the fuck she's wearing. Worry about what he's doing. He's not looking where he's shooting, and he's shooting from behind someone else. Fuck. Careless use if blanks. I don't think those were blanks. And if it was, that's beside the point. He would be permanently... you can kill somebody by firing a blank into the back of their head. Twit. Literally Homer Simpson with a gun. Homer's safer than that. Dude. Homer would be way safer than that. Yeah, he's a dumbass. He's going to kill someone. Should be fired immediately. It isn't funny at all. It's irresponsible and dangerous. This is how pretty girl get the bat out of her head blown... Speak fucking English, dude. It was by luck she didn't get hit. Yes. He doesn't know how to shoot, has zero control of that gun. Yes. If she had spooked and turned her head or moved to the side, he could have killed her. Very true. Wow, just wow. There's one time I wish it was AI. That guy's a fucking douchebag. I assume this guy is trying to prep her for control in a loud, unnerving environment, but if I were that woman and I eat, he'd this... Speak fucking English, people. Wow, he could have killed her. He could have done serious damage to her hearing as it is. Even with the ear pro on. Just some guy. I sure hope they kicked his ass out for that. There's a criminal charge there, you fucking retards. That's reckless endangerment. Fuck's sakes. Yeah, no, I don't think that's fair clergy. I don't think Homer Simpson would be that dangerous with a gun. But then again, I remember Homer Simpson on Whacking Day. This one... Yeah, this one deserves to be... this will be the last one I'll do for a little bit. I have to run out and do an errand. I may be half an hour or more. So I will leave the interlude video up when I go. But I want to leave you guys with this because this is just fucking heartwarming. Josh Wood. We all laugh, but what's happening here is holy. I think sacred might be a better word, but yeah, agreed. And it's really a matter of synonyms. An instinct no ideology can suppress forever. Holding a baby rewires everything. Your politics, your priorities, your purpose. We've spent decades teaching women to resist this. Imagine a world where we stopped. And I'll full screen this and read the caption. The friend who doesn't want kids holds a baby for the first time. Just listen to what she says.
at her. What's her name? She's like, yeah, why is it open? Oh my god, I need to have a kid. I need to have a. Oh my god. Oh, she's smiling. I want to take my top off and have skin to skin contact.
Oh, Grant, that's a bit of a strange thing to say, but I do understand. Yeah. So, yeah. I love how she says she wants to have skin-to-skin contact. That new baby smell. No ideological brainwashing can ever fully remove primal instinct for mothering. Dale Partridge just says, amen. Children used to be everywhere. Now they're hidden in daycares and gated play areas, invisible until you choose to have one. Unless you had younger siblings, most women never hold a baby until they have one. Engineered ignorance. Yep, just imagine that. We need to prepare both men and women better for becoming parents. Fair. These tiny yet immense wonders of life have a direct connection to our hearts. They allow us to feel and understand the world and all of existence, not with our heads, but with our hearts. The word you're looking for is our spirits. Children speak to your soul. Young women need to understand after your 20s have gone, the parties have ended, and the hookups become less easy after marketing and social media no longer caters to you, but the new 20-somethings, the need to have a baby and family hit with a vengeance, and too late for many by then. Think kids are expensive? Try paying $40,000 in IVF to get a chance to get pregnant. Yeah. Maternal instincts kicking in space-time. Yep. What? I'm not sure what this is meant to represent. Being another human being's mom and nurturing them is the most amazing, awesome experience. It makes me so sad that motherhood and being a stay-at-home mom is maligned so much nowadays. Holiness is personal, parenthood is voluntary, meaning cannot be prescribed by reaction. Well, I think if you look at her reaction, you see some meaning. Imagine how much effort it took to batter this out of women, for them to go against their natural instinct. Insane. Yeah, it took organization. Feminism liberated women from the natural dignity of their sex and turned them into inferior men. Yeah, absolutely true, drop tested. Following you? No. And no. Okay, folks. So, I will be back in just a little... Well, it's going to be a little more than a little while. Is it this one? No. Maybe it's this one. Nope. Okay, give me just a moment. I'm going to grab that link again. And I'll leave the interlude running while I'm gone. Which means I need this. Copy it as a path. Excuse me. Oof. Should be this file now. There we are. Okay. I'll put you in the gaming mode. Put the interlude graphic back on. I'm going to turn off this mic. Actually, I'll turn off my camera first. I will be back in probably 25 minutes to half an hour, maybe 35 minutes. So hopefully you'll all be here when I come back. Whew. Yeah. So I spent the last half hour or so running around like a chicken with my head cut off. But I got a bunch of shit done. At least. Okay. Now, close that. Full screen that. Okay. Oh, I'm an idiot. I left the recording going. So I'm going to have to, obviously, edit the shit out of this in a bit before I post it tonight. So, for everyone who's been here, all this time, Kalergi especially in chat. Thank you very much. If you'd like to support what I do, you can go over to Ko-Fi and send me a donation. Otherwise, you can be one of the Orangutan gang and chat, comment, share, follow, like, all those good things. And of course, if you do give a financial donation, you get to be part of the supporter line in the ticker. And of course, as always, I want to thank my supporters Simon, JJ, Sadie, CPNTA, and ZenRab7. Also, the few members of the Orangutan gang who decided to finance me anonymously. Deeply appreciated. Let me get rid of that interlude graphic. Whew. Yeah, I am one fat bastard. That's okay. When I'm done here now in a couple of hours, I'll be getting on the rowing machine again before supper. Okay, let's open Steam. Oh, Steam was already open. We will drop Steam back down. Now, let's hope Fallout works properly, and I can get this to play properly. That's a good start. I've got the sound. Now, I need to check properties. Okay, it's still set to Skyrim, so we'll sweat. We will sweat. Sweat. The Fallout thing. Okay, excellent. Let me have a quick look at my options here. Okay, I don't need to do anything there. Tech support, data files. I don't think I need to worry about any of that. We'll hit play and hope for the best. Okay. This does look like it's working. However, okay, I need to tab to the game. Bring up a tab and click come up. This isn't good. What I want. What's going on here? Also at the end of the recording. So again, thank you to everyone who's been here all this time. The end of the recorded section, which should have been in before I went to my last interlude. But in any case, I hope you're doing well. I hope you continue to. And as always, rise and rise again. Until then, bye-bye. And I will see you tomorrow.